Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you guys so much for joining me. Yes, I am still in my bedroom. The door is closed. I had to change my shirt because it was full with makeup. Yes, I probably don't look like I made an effort, but I did. So, we're here in between a protective style and a hard place because we have got to talk about a very important topic. All topics are important. If it is of interest to you, you're looking at the thumbnail, you want to know what's my opinion on the matter. Well, guys, let me just say that the modern family is in big trouble. And I will argue, I will try to have this conversation in a very, very concise, small, easy manner. Let's get into it, shall we? So, we all know that most marriages end in divorce. And this is now a phenomenon that is across the world in most industrial and developed countries where marriages are ending in divorce. And in the places where they are not ending in divorce, it is because women are seriously oppressed and have no other option but to stay with their violent, abusive, or oppressive husbands. Now, for those of us who have the option of staying at home, we are finding ourselves on these streets, in these streets, permanently without any good prospects in sight. Not my words, it's what I read. And I've been doing a lot of research on this topic and have been threatening to talk about it in great detail. And here we go for the first time for the record. Now, I want to first start off with the Industrial Revolution and what it meant for the modern family that time, 100 years ago, when my grandparents were coming up in the world, right? My grandmother is now 93 years old and she married when she was 19. She received a minimal education, which meant that she finished primary school. And then, because of the war and because of a shortage on, I don't know, everything, she had to start teaching immediately. So she basically learned on the job. Now, she was married to an up and coming, promising young man named Godsman Ellis, who studied at the University of Columbia some gazillion years ago in the middle of civil unrest in America. Okay, so I want that to really sink in because I need to paint the picture of the climate when it comes to the Black family and families in general across the world. He packed up his family after saving a lot of money and drove from Central America all the way up to Canada, where he took half of his children with him, and they grew up, and one was born in Canada at the time that he was studying. He received his bachelor's, I think, or his master's in agricultural something or another. I got to get those details. I will do a whole historical family background if you guys want on that journey and story if you like, but I just wanted to paint the picture of what their marriage looked like because they were the stepping stone for what I thought married life would be like if and when I did get married. Now, fast forward to my mother and her divorces, yes, with an S, and me and my divorce, yes, I've been married before. I have now realized and understood that basically you come in a losing game because you not just have the environment pushing a narrative down your throat that is not in alignment with the things that you are trying to pursue, but you have your own personal struggles to balance some unreal understanding of what it means to have family, career, and education. You only have so many years, days, hours, minutes, seconds in your life. And to accomplish all of these things as a woman, you will find yourself in a hard position, having to make hard choices about what is going to be a priority. There have been many times in my relationships with my children and my husband and myself where I had to ask myself, what can I give my attention to 100% now? And what is the most important thing for me to accomplish? And if you are a person who does not really want to be a mother and you have kids anyway, you will find yourself putting your kids last and putting your career first. And you can be like the best career woman, the boss bae, the one bringing in the bag, the one bringing in the money, and have your husband looking at you sideways because he wants his legacy to be secured. And by legacy, he means his children. If you work in competition with said husband to be the power couple or to both have a great career so that you could afford a lifestyle that you will then end up having to give up because you cannot maintain said lifestyle because you did not know, no one told you that maintaining lifestyle is a full-time job in itself, you're sacrificing your family for your career. That's just what the numbers say. And the people that end up losing the most because of this situation of modern feminism, which is not the entire problem behind why marriages and divorces are taking place, but the main reason there is because we have been fed a lie that we willingly and openly stuck to and believed was true. Let's just take a little break back and not let me not overshare too much about my life and my struggles, but just to say that what I have read in terms of how women have been plagued and very, very, very much confused about what it is they should be doing with their time because they're afraid of giving complete control to a man because of so many Lifetime Movie Network trauma series that have taught us that if we put our trust and hope and comfort into a man's dreams, that we will be left in the end feeling very unfulfilled with just homework and children. And when he decides to run off and marry his secretary and leaves you with the children and no money, then what you would be happy to have that career um, to fall back on. Now, if you're like my mother and husband suddenly dies in a freak accident and then you have to get up and go take care of your children or just continue taking care of your children because she worked all the time, which most women, by the way, have been doing since past centuries. It's just that as of very recently in the feminist movement, the first one, not what's going on right now, women have always been working, and now it wasn't only until very recently that women's work was included in the GDP. And when I say women's work, I mean her housework, not what we're doing outside of the house. Women wanted their work at home to be quantifiable and included in the gross um GDP, the gross development profit. You know what GDP means. I'm sorry, I can't find the acronym, the complete acronym right now. And so this is what happened the in the European Union some decades ago, and this was the beginning of women's work being acknowledged. And I want to make the distinction between acknowledged and allowed because we have always been allowed to work. In fact, only the most higher aristocratic, attractive women did not have to work because they married into money, and that allowed them to use their good looks and charm to help exhilarate their husband's career, which helped to allow her to continue to live a life of luxury where she did not have to work because she could afford not to work. And now women act like working is some kind of badge of honor when it is actually something that was only what the lower middle class and lower class people had to do because they couldn't afford servants to do it for them. So now that we're in a situation where we're now giving up our children and our right to motherhood, remember that important job, which now seems to be the least important job because women say it's not important enough to actually raise a whole nation of young people or people to do anything. Now we just have people who are hatched and dragged up because nobody's there to raise them because mommy's busy getting her career and education. And I don't want anybody to come at me and say that getting your education and having a job is not important. It is absolutely important. We're not a slave hand in the field. We don't have our own farms anymore. You got to work to make money. But for those of us who can afford to stay home because we have understood that we don't actually have to have the bag or the Gucci or the name brand stuff. We make those sacrifices so that our children can have the best possible outcome because we are consistently present to them and their needs to be able to support them so that they can be able to solve some of the shitty issues and problems of today's world. Then we can then take our jobs as mothers and wives more more importantly and start to feel more fulfilled in said jobs. Now I'm not here to preach to you because hey, like you, I have been fed this lie my whole life that you can have it all and you can be a single mom. I will tell you that at the end of 10 years of doing that by myself, I was exhausted. I had only debt and serious damaged health to show for all my hard work and effort, and a child who had not even been close to me as the day that I pushed her into this world. I began to ask myself, what was I doing this for? And if it meant that I had to look at my life, reevaluate my life, and be shamed by the sisterhood for just giving up my very lucrative career to focus on repairing what was left of the relationship with the child that I did have and do right by any other children that I did have, it meant that I had to go into my relationship, my future and now present relationship, having dealt with a lot of issues of revolving around trust, anxiety, and depression that had absolutely nothing to do with the young man of my choosing. But I was not going to have him be my sacrificial lamb by not being able to look at some of the issues that I had brought into the relationship knowingly and unknowingly. That meant that I had to take time off of my busy schedule to make time to be a better human being, mother, and person, because I suddenly realized that the things that were told to me were the most important things for a woman as a person to do in life were actually not as important as it is for me to be a mother and a wife, because those things are the things that actually give me fulfillment and joy. Most of us are at a stage and a place in our lives where we can't even acknowledge that because of out of fear of embarrassment by the sisterhood. I say fuck the sisterhood, because them bitches ain't gonna be here when I retire. Them bitches ain't gonna help me raise my kids. And they sure as hell are not happy with the lives that they have when they grab and puddle with their careers and their degrees at the end of the day. So again, I will not say I pursue my career. I am pursuing my career and my education, and I push my children to pursue their career and their education. But the only difference that between what I was fed, and I'm not knocking my mother and my grandmother, and what they're fed is that it is okay to be a mother and a wife, and you can find fulfillment and enjoyment in it, because it is something that is very, very important, because you are doing the most important job of humankind, which is nurturing, supporting, and loving human beings into great, successful, and powerful adults. Nothing further for this moment. We can get into more of the historical reasons as to why we are in this situation, because marriage, of course, is a failed technology, but we don't know where it's going to swing. Maybe it will swing back in the other end, where where women are going to start to want more masculine men. Y'all can't have my husband. And then we will see more feminine women, because women are starting to realize, I'm not happy. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I can't work like a man. It is hard work like a man. And they're going to start to just be willing and ready and able to trust men more, and to start to be able to give themselves in a more softer way to their partners and allow them to take the lead. And that might mean that you have to do a little bit more self awareness and to start to realize what it is that you are working towards. What are your goals? Find somebody who is in alignment with that and build something together. Because doing it by yourself is extremely hard and sometimes very impossible. And at the end of the day, you will not have much to show for your hard work if you don't have someone to do it with. Women of the past knew and understood this very clearly, and they were willing to give up things like love and passion for bringing into this life something that actually created a lot of the successes and technologies that you see today. The things that we enjoy came from people who were able to do a lot because they came from families that taught men how to work and women how to work together, not to be separate as an individual. The people who created the world in which we enjoy so many of the amenities and inconveniences that we have came from a place of creativeness, innovation, and wanting to solve problems, because they wanted to belong and be a part of the society and its development. The people that exist today, I am not sure, have the same set of mindset, because we are so focused on self actualization and so disconnected from community and togetherness that I am hard pressed to see what's going to come out of the generation that is fatherless, and in most cases also barely motherless. I mean, barely, who barely have mothers, so sort of mothering. I don't know. Is that a thing? I was on a roll there. Fizzled down. I should have stopped at 15. I mean, at 14. 14. So, if you guys have any comments about this topic, please let me know in the comment section down below. I will be back with more on this topic once I've re-listened because I was on a flow. I was just like, yeah. I will be having some people coming on the show next week. If you guys want to be a part of the conversation, please let me know, and I will send you the link in the description in an email. So stay tuned. Things are about to get real up in here. And you know what to do, guys. Make sure to stay safe and stay free.